Hello, Capricorn. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. Supportive Oracle Cards, Energy Oracle Cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. Okay. How come we're having a hard time picking up cards all of a sudden? I've been using like coconut oil lately, but I did take a shower since I've used it, so I shouldn't be all greasy. Not that I am. I'm very soft though, which is interesting. I somehow feel like this is an either-or situation. Either or. So like you have a choice coming up and you have like, it seems like it's going to play out one way or the other, and you seem to have a very strong influence on that. So let's start from the beginning, of course. Temperance with cornucopia. Okay, so this is a situation, I feel like for a lot of you, it's a situation that you're used to being in control of, or you have been in control of in the past. And when you've been in control of it, like actually in control of it, it's been good. Like nobody got taken advantage of, nobody got overworked, everybody did their part, you did your part, they did their part. One thing I feel really strong about Capricorns is like, they don't just, at least the Capricorns I know, they don't just make other people do stuff, they do it themselves. They're the ones who are in there working with everybody else. They may be the leader, but they're still pulling their weight and they're doing just as much as everybody else, if not more, a lot of cases. Earth signs tend to do a lot, I know that. So that's what we're starting with. This type. In the past you have been. I don't know if that's currently the situation. Let's keep going. Because I'm getting the Sun card here. Everybody was happy when you were in control. I don't know if that sounds ridiculous, because I almost feel like you're like, well, I don't know if everybody was happy. I almost feel like I can see two people I can think of right in my head that they would immediately say to me, well, I don't know if everybody was happy, and they're Capricorns. So it's so most people, it was as good as it was going to get. Can we do that? Let's do that. Let's do that. I can also see them saying, well, I don't know about that. All right. Anyway, that situation changed. Whatever that was, it might have been just for a time you were in control, or you had to make a change, or maybe there's a job you had in the past, something in the past where you had control like this, and the similar situation went really well. Most people were happy, I'm going to say. Most people were happy. Going into the next situation, you have another Sun card coming in. Like you have Sun card leading into the Sun card. Like, things were still good, but somebody else was taking control. The Two of Wands came in. This was face down. Changes happened quickly. Something like a change had to be, or a decision had to be made, and whatever this decision was, either you decided or somebody else, obviously, that you being in control wasn't going to be, that wasn't going to work. There was the Hermit card with the financial constraints, which it doesn't have to be money. A lot of times this card is, but it doesn't have to be. But for some reason, people felt like, or whoever you were dealing with, were trying to find different answers, trying to figure out what to do, and felt like the resources of the situation were being, like they weren't going to be able to support this anymore. It could be the situation you were dealing with was temporary. It had like a shelf life. It's kind of like, you know, what do I say? You make a pie, you put it on the table. Even if you freeze it, sooner or later it's gonna go bad. Like even if you freeze it for like 5 years, it'll lose its flavor. It's not really worth anything anymore. I think that's how that works. You know what I mean? So like the situation, it came to an end is what I'm getting. It feels more like it came to an end, but when I'm getting the constraint with the Hermit, it was just kind of like it just ran its course. I really feel like it ran its course. When that moved on, even though everybody was happy, you seem to have been happy too. But it's kind of like, well, that's all we have, and that's just it. It's done. I think a better analogy is kind of like, you know, you have a cake or a pie. Once you serve the last piece, that's it. That's it. We're out of pie. That's it. Like, I feel like that's the type of situation, but it's pie, so it's like it was good when it lasted. Attachment with the Eight of Swords, Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords. You didn't know what was going to happen next after this. There's a little bit of stress with that. Where do I go now? What should I do now? Kind of like, I want to do more of this, but I don't see a place to do that. I don't see a place to apply this. It's kind of like it was a good social event, a social occasion, and I don't know when the next one's going to come together where we can all get together and enjoy it in this type of way. Almost like it was seasonal, like it was a summer party, summer family reunion, and it's just like it took years for everybody to get the same time off and be able to travel up to be here. I don't know when we're going to be able to do this again. Okay. So it feels something like that. I feel like for some of you this might have been a family reunion or something like that, or some type of reunion. It doesn't have to be that way for everybody. Take it with a grain of salt, of course. This is face down. Three of Wands, Six of Wands. Somebody else is trying to create this situation again. So you created it. It feels like you created it, or you had a very strong hand in the original creation. Maybe you weren't the sole creator, but you had a very strong hand in it. If this is hitting, of course. General read, all that other good stuff. When I'm feeling these two cards, somebody else came in. They wanted to do it somewhere else. The location feels like it's different. Whatever the situation is, like it feels like it's happening somewhere else with the Three of Wands. And with the Six of Wands, there's a lot of success going on here. There's a really good energy. This starts off really good, really positive. On your side, you have the King of Swords with the Knight of Coins. You're very open and helpful. You want this to come again. You want this to be successful again. You're like, that was great the last time we did it. Everybody had a good time. I had a good time. It was going to be as good as it was going to get. Let's do that, of course. I want this to happen again. I definitely want to be a part of this, and I'd love to help to ensure that repeat and success. It looks like it's going great from here. It looks like a great start. Different location, that's fine with me. I'd like to help so that I can ensure it'll be great again. Because I did good. I was a good part of the first one. I'd like to be a great part of the second one too. Alright, so there's a lot. This is where the either or comes in. In the environment, somebody, the other person, the new person taking over, they're trying to hold on to it is what I'm getting. Like, when I'm feeling this, like, they're trying to hold on to the situation. They're trying to hold on to the strength. They want to be the one in control. They definitely want to be the one in control. So it's kind of like, I think this is the either or. You can either go along with them, because I almost feel like you're kind of like, well, maybe I'll just, it's their bag, it's their turn to lead. I'll let them do what they want to do. This is very interesting to me. You got an either or. This is, the Virgo was kind of an either or too. That's interesting. If you go along with it, because you got the door to romance, it's not going to turn out that well. That's the three. It's going to be, that's heartbreak. The door to romance leading to heartbreak is like this situation. If you let this other person just take control and just do what they want, it's going to lead, it's not going to work out. This is not going to have anywhere near the good outcome it had before. It's not going to work out the same way. You're going to have some problems. You're going to have regrets because you're going to be like, oh, I knew better on that too. If I had asked these other questions, I shouldn't have backed off. If I got in there and I figured it out, I would have been able to say, no, that's not going to work, and this is why that's not going to work. That's the Three of Swords. Kind of like once you figure it out after the fact, you're going to be like, oh, I could have helped so much. I know how to handle these things. And I feel like I'm frustrated that I didn't. Your other, I think we're going to do that first. Okay. Your other option is Justice with the Star card. Justice can be a little cold sometimes, but if you want a good outcome, you get a better outcome. The Star, but the thing is, it's kind of like you're going to have to be a little bit pushy, a little bit cold. I feel like you don't want to rub this person the wrong way, and you're kind of trying to like, well, if I can't be in control, I guess I'll just let them be in control, and it'll work itself out. I'm getting it won't. if you push yourself kind of in it, I don't know how that sounds, because I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Because you're invested in the outcome, and you kind of keep yourself involved, and you're like, hey, what's going on there? You're going to have to preemptively ask what's going on in that situation, because there were some issues before we had to work out. What's going on over in this situation, because there was some issues before we had to work out. What's going on over in this situation, because sometimes that's a little tricky, and I just preemptively watched out for it to make sure that I worked around it so it wasn't an issue. The Justice, it might be a little cold, but you get the Star card. That's a very optimistic outcome. Perfect? No. As good as last time? I don't know about that. But much better. This could end up with an outcome that you're happy with, that most people enjoy. An outcome you're happy with. The difference is you're going to end up either with an outcome you're really disappointed in or an outcome you're happy with. It's not going to be as good as the first time. It's just not. I don't want to give that false feeling because it's not how it feels. It's not going to be as good as the first time, but it could be a lot better than it looks like it's heading for. Now, this is what's in the environment that I wanted to show you. The other person, I don't feel negative energy there. And I know it's a general reading, so you have to decide how you feel about whoever this other person is. But they've got the Angel of Love with the Devil card. The Devil card is telling me there's going to be big hang-ups. They're going to try to just work through those things, and they're just going to try to, the love energy is kind of I just don't feel like they're getting in and really digging their hands in the dirt and really pushing things around to make them work out. They're not, when you got to get in the dirt to really plant something, you got to dig some stuff up, you got to clean it up, you got to mix some things in, you got to water it, you got to weed it, you got to tend to it, you got to prune some things. That takes some effort, and I don't feel like that's how they want to handle it. I almost feel like if we're going to use that same analogy, they're kind of like, this looks like a good spot, let me put this seedling here, and then we'll see what happens. They don't water it, they're like, it'll rain will be enough. They don't weed it, they don't really do the extra work to make sure that it has enough room to grow and for the roots to spread out. So it's just a very diminished return. You, on the other hand, would be like, well, you know what? You can just throw that there, but what's going to happen is you're only going to get a third of the growth that you normally would because it's got some clay to work around and it's not going to be able to get the roots in. That's not a good spot because there's not much sun coming in, and this is a plant that needs a lot of sun. You also want to aerate the soil a little bit more for these other reasons. You want to pull out the weeds because the weeds will strangle it and you're going to get some diminished return because of that. You also want to prune it back because it just goes wild and it gets too long and that's not going to be good. You'll be able to tell these things. That's the Justice card on your side. It's just kind of listen, you can do it that way. This is what you're going to get. If you do it this way, this is what you'll get. You'll just be kind of flat out there how it should happen. The Devil card is this person is going to have issues. They're going to have hang-ups. They're going to have problems. They're going to need somebody to kind of stay on them to do it the right way. I don't know how that sounds. Maybe I shouldn't say the right way. To do it a better way. Because quite frankly, when they get all said and done and they get to this moment, the fruition, they want to enjoy it too. And they'll be thankful that you were a part of it. They may not show that gratitude till that point. They may not really, just to be fair for some of you, it may be after the fact before they actually go, you know what, thank you for your help, because I don't think that would have worked out the way it was supposed to if you hadn't pushed me. Take it with a grain of salt, wherever that goes. But there's going to be problems either way. The Angel of Strength comes in again with the Page of Coins. There's going to have to be some working out of this situation. There's going to have to be some energy put into it. It can be still a good outcome. And I'm really a big fan of the earth energy, and Capricorn is definitely in this boat. Kind of if I'm going to put my effort into it, if I'm going to put my energy into it, I'm looking to get something out. I don't just put out frivolous things. I don't just throw rocks into the water just because I'm bored. I'm not going to put all this sweat, blood, and tears into throwing rocks in the water just because I have nothing else to do. That's not earth energy. That's not Capricorn energy. If I'm going to do something, if I'm going to be moving rocks, I'm going to be building a wall. I'm going to be creating something with it. I'm going to be moving them out of a field so I can plant something in that field. If I'm doing this effort, I'm doing it for a reason. So I'm getting for you making this decision. You want the best outcome. You want the best for your buck. You want the best for your effort. And they're saying, it might be a little cold, but if you want this better outcome, a worthwhile outcome, they're saying you're going to have to kind of get in there and kind of maybe interject and kind of like help lead the way a little bit. It's up to you, obviously. Totally in your court what you're going to do with it. But they're just giving you, if you don't, you're going to end up with this heartbreak, like, ugh, this was not worth it. If you do, it's kind of like, well, it was still good. It was still good. Not as good as it's been in the past, but still good. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.